In the silence and solitude, our souls finally come home. This is from the book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I am Reverend Amani Malaika. And let's you and I spend this next several minutes together honoring and abiding in the home of our souls. This is what communion in this winter season allows. When you accept this invitation to good that comes around every year, as we move into the darker season, as we move into the cold, as we move into the quiet. And my darlings, this is a moment on the planet in history where it's more needed than ever. May you and I accept winter's invitation to slow, to return to the home of our souls. And when you and I do that, we return to a source. We return to the source that can hold whatever needs to be held. Whatever drama in your life that you need some respite from, right? This idea of regulating your nervous system, communion lets you do that. Communion lets you return to yourself, your holy, beautiful, exquisite, divinely appointed and anointed self. And the world needs you. But you, at your best, means you wildly connected and aligned with your true nature. Filled with the power, the holy power of your isness, as I like to call it. Your isness that is innate in you, indestructible in you. Just like the oil that lit the lamp in the temple, which we're celebrating during Hanukkah. Indestructible, infinite. And when you accept winter's invitation, when you take the opportunity to find the treasures that are awaiting in the dark, everything that you need to meet life's demands is there. You get to return and abide in the truth of who you are. And this truth of who you are gets lost in the noise, gets lost in the stress, gets lost in what feels like the demands, right? Are you stressing out about Christmas or Hanukkah or the world and feeling like, oh my God, I can't meet the demand. I can't meet what is needed. I don't know what to contribute. I don't know how to contribute. And I'm tired. So return. Abide in the home of your soul. Commune with this holy, sacred source within you that cannot be destroyed, no matter what the circumstances are in your life. And I want to share with you from the same book, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. The author is Mark Comer. And he talks about what happens, which is what I believe is one of the things we need to wrestle with in these winter times. He says, we face the good, the bad, and the ugly in our own hearts. Our worry, our depression, our hope, our desire for God, our lack of desire for God, our sense of God's presence, our sense of God's absence, our fantasies, our realities, all the lies we believe, the truths we come home to, our motivations, our addictions, the coping mechanisms we reach for just to make it through the week. All this is exposed, and painfully so. But rather than leaking out on those we love most, it's exposed in the safe place of Spirit's love and voice. This is communion. This is abiding in the home of your soul. And I know for me, abiding in the home of my soul sometimes feels like a scary proposition to slow down to that degree and have to meet myself there. Have to meet all that is rising in my own thoughts and feelings. To stop long enough to attend to all that is happening in me. Sometimes I'm literally afraid to slow down because I know the sorrow, the grief, the anger, the disappointment, the worry that will meet me there. And what also meets me there is that still small voice that always knows what to do. The comfort of the divine's presence that can literally soothe my nervous system and relieve me of all that I am spinning about in my thinking and feeling self. And I have to be willing to sit through the pain and the sorrow and the grief and the worry and the overthinking and the gaslighting myself, because that's really what overthinking does. And if I can meet that for the minutes, sometimes it takes 10 or so minutes to get through all of that noise before I can exhale and rest into the home of my soul, the peace of my source, which is within me at all times. But I have to be willing to seek the treasure. I have to be willing to go through the journey of arriving, of returning. And I know that built into this seasonal life that you and I share together, winter is here for you on purpose to do that. And that I know that it feels like there's not enough time. It's just too noisy in the world. There's too much to do in your life. There's too many people who need you. And yet what I am saying to you is you cannot give from an empty cup. And not only can you not give from an empty cup, but when you and I are making choices and contributing to the family, to your beloved, to your kid, to your community, to your job, from a place of stress and dysregulation, you are not contributing what you actually have to give, what is uniquely appointed in you to gift, your presence, your love, in the way that you can give it. From that stressed out, dysregulated place, you can't give that. But what you can give is unintended harm. You give the stress. You leak out, as Mark Comer said, on the people that you care about, on the work that you care about. And that is not your nature. Even when sometimes you and I intend harm, right? We're pissed off and we want to hurt somebody. Still not your nature, my nature. That is not the nature of the divine that has manifested itself as you. But when you take the time and accept the invitation to slow and return and come into communion with your holy true nature, you get to remember your true nature. You get to remember, you get to come back to the wisdom that is yours, the still small voice that has an answer for you, the peace that is ever, 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 ever available and existing in you, even when you can't find it and sense it. This is why, I've been talking all year about what are the conditions you need to create in your life that support you in staying connected, in returning and remembering, in your communion with your true nature, that only you can touch and discover and then offer to what you care about, to the world that you inhabit. This is the way that you and I can do less harm, that you and I can actually meet the urgency of these times with the gifts that are innately in us to meet the urgency, to be of service, to contribute something good. But when you try to contribute from a place of stress and deregulation and disconnection from your whole true self, it's never ideal. And yet I think it's the normal. I think you and I have been so entrained to this hustle culture, to grind culture, right? As Tricia Hersey says in Rest is Resistance. When you choose to rest, you are resisting all of that programming, all of that societal pressure, systemic white supremacy, toxic capitalist pressure to perform, to buy into BS stuff that is simply not in service to your true nature. And this beautiful thing happens every year. Winter continues to show up for you and I. This built-in gift to disconnect from the BS, to separate yourself from what is absolutely not serving you and your families and your communities and the world. This is a time to give yourself full permission to seek the treasures of the dark, even when it's painful, even when you may be in the ashes of the temple after war. Even then, the invitation remains. The good in the stillness and the slowing remains and continues to offer itself to you. And so my prayer continues to be, may you embrace the winter's good. May you seek the treasures that await you in the quiet and the dark. May you return home to the solitude of your own soul and be so served by that. Be so held by that. That from that place, whatever needs to be done, whatever must be done, can be done from that true holy nature that you are. I love you so much, and so it is.